While citizens of the United States make up only 4% of the planet's entire human population, we use 25% of its natural resources. Although some of these natural resources are more plentiful than others, each and every one of them, from timber to precious metals, from fossil fuel to fresh water, is finite. As individuals, as families, as a nation, we focus on balancing our finances, aware of the dangers of living beyond our means. Yet extravagant and irresponsible management of natural resources has consequences far beyond extravagant and irresponsible management of finances. Once a natural resource is gone, it's gone for good. My name is Susan Melka, and I am a graduate student in the Professional Science Master Program at the University of Idaho. As a bona fide baby boomer, I was raised in a culture that, since the end of World War II, has been endlessly drilled on the need to expand the economy, to want more, to make more, to have more. This is the American dream. There are many closely held bits of avowed truth to which we have clung over the centuries. The world is flat, disease is caused by night air, the sun revolves around the earth, the rain follows the plow. But science, education, and experience have proven these beliefs false. We have learned our lesson of consumption well, and we have lived it faithfully and lovingly. But with a global human population forging towards 10 billion people and all evidence pointing towards substantial change in our environments, it is time to create a new American dream. We need to learn how to live within our means, how to reevaluate what we need, and how to conserve Earth's precious and dwindling resources. And education takes time. I know this from personal experience. Yet we can begin now taking small and deliberate steps towards the goal that will support and sustain a durable and resilient biosphere. Small and deliberate steps can lead to big things. In choosing a project for a class portfolio in science communication, my aim was to think small, to choose something that actually seemed doable. After constructing this criteria and casting around a bit in the local waters of science, I realized that the idea I was looking for was just at that moment bundled in the back of my Subaru, waiting for a trip into town. Although I can't ever imagine living in town with sidewalks and high-speed internet, next-door neighbors and curbside trash pickup, wouldn't it be nice to have convenient access to recycling? I am a dedicated recycler and have always kept cans, bins, and boxes of sorted materials stacked up for the weekly trek into town. But it has always bothered me that even the most conscientious people I know living out here in the wilds of North Idaho think nothing of tossing their cans, water bottles, junk mail, and newspapers into the trash and hauling it to the nearest rural dumpster. In this presentation, I will explain the need for rural recycling in Harrison, Idaho, outline some of the benefits of implementing a rural recycling program, discuss some of the opportunities available to help build a viable program, and discuss some of the challenges we might face along the way. According to the United States Environmental Protection Agency, Americans generate approximately 4.43 pounds of municipal solid waste per person per day. That's up from 3.7 pounds in 1980. Meanwhile, our population has grown from 227 million people to 314 million souls. We generate almost 700,000 tons of waste per day. Idaho, with only 1.5 million residents, generates almost 4,600 tons of municipal solid waste per day. The amount of municipal solid waste we generate per day in the United States would fill 63,000 garbage trucks. If those were lined bumper to bumper, they would stretch from Spokane, Washington to Boise, Idaho. Although recycle rates in parts of the U.S. have climbed to around 34% of total MSW generated, here in Idaho, our rates hover around 10%. Why don't we recycle? Well, here in rural Harrison, there are a number of reasons. Residents of Harrison have to drive 45 minutes one way into Coeur d'Alene to recycle. The landfill is located clear on the other side of Kootenai County. Out of sight, out of mind. The Harrison area seems pristine and undefiled. And finally, there's little thought given to waste dumped in someone else's backyard. Much of what enters the waste stream is valuable resources, essential components of today's marketplace, according to the EPA. The value of recycled material is typically consistent with virgin material and recovered sources. Waste of resources like wood, paper, cardboard, aluminum, steel, and plastic contributes to global climate change and has negative effects on biodiversity. The extraction and processing of virgin materials pollutes the atmosphere, water sources, and the earth. These processes require the combustion of fossil fuels. When societies are unwise in their usage of limited resources, those resources often plummet in availability for other users, human and non-human. So many systems of human consumption lack clear boundaries. The waste generated in Harrison, Idaho, has repercussions throughout the world. All humans are interconnected. What happens in Harrison does not stay in Harrison. The EPA lists a whole range of recycling benefits. It protects and expands U.S. jobs, increases U.S. competitiveness in global markets, preserves landfills that are expensive to locate, expensive to open, expensive to manage, close, and monitor long-term. It saves energy and prevents pollution. It conserves precious resources. It's patriotic to recycle. There are other opportunities associated with rural recycling in Harrison. Residents are already responsible for hauling household waste to rural collection sites. Recycling at these locations would be simple and convenient. There are opportunities for community partnerships supporting recycling. Rural schools have netted as much as $30,000 annually for recyclables they've collected. Sale of recycled materials can help raise funds to support things locals care deeply about, like the community hall at Carlin Bay. Residents of rural Harrison have deep affection for their surroundings. In a 1999 study, Cowles et al. Found that connections can be made between cognitive interest in nature, affinity for nature, and increasing protective feelings towards nature. Creating these connections can raise awareness of recycling as a human issue rather than a political one. Another thing research has suggested is humans adopt new behavior patterns for a multitude of reasons besides economics. These include changing or maintaining standing in the community, enhancing self-respect, and avoiding guilt or community sanctions. Granted, there are a few challenges that may have to be overcome. Some residents may consider separation of recyclable materials from other household waste to be distasteful or not worth the effort. Many residents of the area self-identify as politically conservative and may object to engaging in behaviors they associate with a liberal political or ideological agenda. But opportunity always rides side by side with challenge. Creation of a viable rural recycling program in Harrison, Idaho will require a strong and focused communication campaign. The focus will be on providing information on the need for and benefits of rural recycling, creating positive feelings about recycling, creating desire to participate in recycling, and initiating the process of local rural recycling among residents of Harrison. The communication campaign will center around 3 15-second public service announcements. These will be featured on local television stations and in the local and regional press, both print and online editions. A web page will be developed specifically for the rural recycling campaign, and there will be links on the Kootenai County government website. Additionally, press releases will be submitted to all local media on a regular basis. A local email tree will be utilized for direct contact with local residents. And finally, a campaign assessment survey will be administered at a community potluck 3 months after initiation of the media campaign. Not a day passes without new learning opportunities. Although many of these eureka moments fly from my head shortly after first alighting there, it seems that the best of them leave an imprint behind, making it easier to recognize them the next time around. One of the best things I learned in this class was the value of humor in creating a strong message. People, myself included, are overwhelmed by bad news and difficult choices. Humor can be a powerful tool for initiating change. A chuckle or a smile is more likely to create an opening in a listener's heart and mind. A stout 2x4 can create an opening too, but probably not one that's very useful in creating alliances. So, is this the end of the Harrison Rural Recycling Project? Was it all just an exercise towards completion of my science communications portfolio? I would like to think not. With some tweaking and snipping and a bit of heel biting too, it just might be possible to make it happen. I'm going to take a few weeks off after semester's over and let the water clear. But this much I know for sure. If local rural residents of Harrison, Idaho understand the cost of our consumption-based society and the benefits of recycling, they will want to do the right thing. If the convenience of recycling is enhanced, they will begin to recycle. If there are measurable local benefits and the message to support recycling is framed in a thought-provoking and entertaining manner, they will continue to recycle. It seems so simple. By making pertinent connections and creating a favorable and accessible atmosphere for good stewardship, people are more likely to become good stewards of their environment. And according to the Lorax, that's exactly what we all need.